This is the wedding invitation that me and my wife sent out to different people when we got married a few years ago. It's always great to be invited to a wedding. And in Jewish culture, wedding celebrations were big deals. They had big feasts that lasted for days on end. In Luke 14, Jesus is sharing a meal with some Pharisees, and he begins to start sharing stories about wedding feasts and about banquets. Jesus uses his surroundings at this dinner table to teach the people around him some really important things. The first story is about seating arrangements. Now, Jesus had watched the different people come into the meal and choose their seats. And seating arrangements are big deals in Jewish culture. It would show how important you were. And Jesus teaches the people that when you come into the room, don't think you should sit in the best of seats, but sit in the worst of seats instead. See, if you sit in the best of seats and are moved to the lower seats, well, that's quite embarrassing. But if you sit in the lower seats and are brought to the greater seats, that's a real sense of privilege. Now, this seems like a really strange story to tell. Is Jesus teaching people about social etiquette? Or is there really something else happening beneath the surface? Moments earlier at the feast, Jesus had healed a man with a terrible sickness, but the day was a Sabbath. Again, Jesus was healing people on the day of rest. It was challenging their religiosity. So more than just giving social etiquette, this story was building upon what had happened with this miracle. Jesus was challenging the dangerous religious mindset of superiority. And sometimes in the church, we can be guilty of that same mindset. We think we know where we deserve to sit. Jesus is on a roll. He begins to tell a second story about banquets. Now, there is a great banquet all laid out. The invites have been sent out, and when the banquet is ready, people begin to make their excuses. One says, I can't come, I've just bought a field. Somebody else says, I've just bought some oxen, and somebody else says, I've just got married. They all make their excuses and put something else ahead of coming to the banquet. And so the master sends out his servants to invite the marginalised and the oppressed to come to the feast instead. In fact, they're told to go onto the streets and drag any old person in. In many ways, this has been exactly what had happened with Jesus' ministry. Often the religious and social elite had turned down their invitation to spend time with Jesus, and yet the poor and the marginalised had flocked to him. When we accept our invitation to God's banquet, we also become party hosts. We are called to invite others to feast with us to discover who God really is. And this is a costly exercise. Jesus goes on to talk about how important it is to work out the sums before you get involved. When was the last time you invited others to feast with you? Not just friends and family, but those who are marginalised in society today, those who are often missed off the guest list. We have been invited to a heavenly banquet. Let's join in and invite others to that banquet as well.